Well, it's the next day. I'm the first one at the shop. And I'm thinking it's time to do a little bit of a 50-hour servicing to this thing. Sorry, pocket. The monitor said check the engine oil. So I'm gonna check the engine oil. I've only opened this hood on this thing, or these, like twice. So this will be a new one for me. Let's do it again. If only there was like a nice track you could sit on to work alongside your engine. You know, like a nice, almost flat thing with tread on it that you just stand on. That'd be really nice. If only someone came with the tractors that could do that. That'd be awesome. That's the first oil this tractor had in its system. At least I think so. I don't know if they do a break-in oil. But maybe second oil. Let's just call it the first though. First oil. It's like a baby's first bottle of milk. Well, soon to have lots of oil changes in its life. I expect this tractor to go about 40,000 hours, 40 or 50,000 hours. Hopefully we get about 120 of those. That'd be awesome. It amazes me the coolers they have on this thing. This hydraulic cooler here, it's gigantic. It makes sense. At 110 gallons per minute capacity on this baby, you got to have some coolers available, but it's amazing. It's pretty cool, and everything's engineered right. You know, we like to put engines and things that weren't supposed to be there, and then we have to find ways to smash coolers into places where they weren't supposed to be, because the engine creates more heat than the original cooler did, and then we got to figure it all out. So that's how we do things, and it always looks a little bit funky, but it usually works. Let's take a peek underneath the engine. Huh. What is that? I don't know. Interesting. That definitely is a big old rear end. Or do we call this the front end? What's interesting is there's no bell housing on this thing. At least it doesn't look like it. It pretty much, the drive line or the output shaft comes right off the flywheel, right into the transmission. That's kind of funny. They don't have it. I can see like the flywheel all exposed up there. Let's take a closer look, unless I'm seeing something differently. There's a lot going on up there. There's a lot of hoses. But I'm sure if you had the cab pulled off and you started kind of going through it, it'd make sense what each thing is. But yeah, not as spacious as a Big Bud, that's for sure. But the Big Bud's also a lot wider and can't fit in nearly as tight up packages as they can. So it's a give and take. What I wish we had was this. I would take that transmission any day. That is a sweet, sweet transmission. That thing shifts so fast and so reliable. I press the button and it does it. That's what's amazing. And it's got a PTO out on it. So if we had one of those transmissions, I know it probably wouldn't talk to a Big Bud engine because they're probably all in communication with all their CAN buses and all that good stuff. But man, that would be sweet to have. 16 speeds. Just bump, 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 bump. Goes through the gears so fast. I've heard other competitors struggle in that department. That's a nice transmission. We got Chris from Umberfirth out here. Chris, so Umberfirth also builds Brent carts, correct?
That is correct, yep.
And last year we had an Umberfirth cart. This is a Brent cart.
That's correct.
So this is your guys' baby.
It is.
We've been taking care of it, I promise.
Good. Tucking it in at night?
Yeah, I've been rolling the tarp over it. But you brought us a little toy to try on this thing. Yeah,
we did. We got an external display to tie into our scale system, so that way the weight can be pronounced to the combine operator while they're dumping on the cart. And we heard Leg Arms was really focusing on diet and exercise during quarantine.
Yep.
So we wanted to hook it up and use him to test it to see how much leaner he's become throughout this.
He looks like a healthy 350, 320, somewhere in that area. Let's find out. Okay, what do you guys think? What does Leg Arms weigh?
All right, I'm actually quite nervous about this, guys.
Get on it.
All right, my self-esteem is gonna go way up.
It is.
Whoa, that's slippery.
Whoa, we got 400 pounds. 415.
Oh, that's actually
500. Is this thing accurate? Is it? Oh. Okay, actually, you're a healthy 215, 220.
Wow, that's not bad.
There we go. Okay, well, so this is for the combine operators. So we'll put it up high, up here somewhere, and then that way, Dad'll put it up high there somewhere, and that way when they're running alongside, they'll have a good idea what's sitting in the cart. So I'm sure that'll look bright at night. It'll probably be awesome. Now all you need is like a little indicator on there, like an arrow that says like needs weight on this side or needs weight on that side, and then you wouldn't have to be on the radio telling them, hey guys, I need more in the back or in the front.
least amount you guys have to talk to each other, the better, right?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's cool. No, that'll work really good. Awesome. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but you can see all the wheat laying over down there. There's probably 10-15% on the ground. His crop lifters are getting a lot of it, but at some point you can only get so much. If it's on the ground, you're not pulling it up. But this is also thinner here because the wild oats decimated this field. Oh, they wreaked havoc on it. I sprayed the oats out, and even though we fried the oats, they still choked the wheat really bad. A lot of really thin patches here. This normally should yield really well here. This is a high yielding field for us. It is not this year, and that's just such a bummer to see happen. But we got on the oat population, so we'll cut the seeds back, and hopefully next year we won't have a lot of oats. It's like 35 grand to spray the farm for oats this year. 40, something like that. It was enough, but it was worth it. She's a full one, 100K. Let's race back. When I say race, I mean go like 10 to 15 miles an hour max to the farmyard. Let's bag some bags, make some big slugs. That's what I'm good at these days, is making slugs. Man, it's amazing how things have changed. This tractor dwarfs that tractor. Oh, what's next? This thing's a beast. That's kind of cool though to see. 2 different companies, 2 different ages, working together to get the job done. I know I prefer this one, but it's cool to see it happen.
So, an interesting fact about me, for those that don't know, I'm actually dyslexic. When I was younger, I knew that I was slightly different. I knew that I wasn't quite the same as my siblings. We were homeschooled, and they were able to grasp onto the simplest things, reading and writing, and just many other things. And I just, for some reason, could not seem to connect with that. I could not understand that concept. I used to think it was, being dyslexic was a curse, and honestly, it's not. I recognize that there was a reason for me having that, and if I could go back in time and change it, I wouldn't change it. I think it has challenged me to become more. I've had to work harder than most. Not saying that I'm a horrible dyslexic, but it's definitely been a struggle in my life. Now, when I graduated high school, I could barely read a 4-letter word. College was something that I was terrified and I didn't want to go to, and I knew that I could be on the farm and do this. That's why usually I'm pretty good with my hands. As being dyslexic, you think 3-dimensionally. You're able to picture and visualize more things in your mind, and so when I see an engine, I can pull it apart, figure out how I need to do it to make it work. Not saying that I'm great at it, but I will do what I can to make it work to the best of my abilities. Now, if you ask me what intelligence is, in my personal opinion or preference, I think intelligence is somebody that is willing to learn and apply themselves. So even if you are not quite as bright as somebody else, but as long as you apply yourself and do the best that you can with what you are given, I truly believe that is intelligence. I truly believe that you are way smarter than somebody that has just been given so much and they don't have to work at all. Because a lot of the people that just have it handed to them, literally, where they just don't have to try to remember things, they don't have to try to learn things, they just know it, usually tend to be more lazy. They don't really try to have to work at it. Because, well, I mean, why should they have to really work at it? So there's lessons in life that struggle is a good thing. It's how you go about the struggle that really matters. I truly believe that we all have different challenges in our lives, but how we go about it is very crucial. And are we able to bless those around us in our challenges? So, yeah, just a little thought. Anyways, I'll stop yakking. You guys can enjoy the video. Bye now.
This could be some of the best wheat on the farm right now. We just jumped across the road, and this is chem fallow. So there was no crop on this last year, and the guys are saying it's running 40 to 50 bushel, which is awesome. Stacking the weight on. Stacking the weight on. Thing is, last year we spent an entire year spending thousands of dollars killing the weeds on this ground and not to grow a crop on, only to save water so that this year we could grow this crop. So is it worth growing a 45 bushel crop at the expense of one season of not growing anything on it? Or is it better to grow a 30 bushel crop and grow a 25 bushel pea crop on the off years? That's the question. In the end, the 25 bushel pea crop combination will be better for combating weeds, and it gives you more flexibility in marketing your crops and stuff. I like the idea of putting crop in the ground every year. But it is sure nice harvesting a big crop like this. It's so hard with the smoke in the air because there's storms coming. They're talking a chance of thunderstorms today, but I can't see them. And usually I can see them coming. But there's a little bit of a dark haze over there. So I'm gonna check my radar on my phone because I think something's coming this way. Yeah, 94,000 pounds, it pulls on you a little bit. You go up a hill and it makes a 620 snort. That's all good, I like to push things. This tractor can't have every day easy. That right there is 1,500 bushels in a bag. We were a lot more careful this time putting it in. Last time I think we put too much in too quickly and it stretched the bag and started to tear a hole, so we had to use some mighty Gorilla tape. We taped it up really tight, so it'll be fine. It's all good now. We learned our lesson. We're learning these bags. We're getting them figured out. Can't do it all right the first time. Now you gotta get back to the field. So let's roll! Oops, I just cut a truck off. I can go 20, 22, 23 miles an hour, so I thought I could probably beat him to the next intersection, but yeah, he's probably going a lot faster than me. Sorry. Whoa, we're going 24 today. I thought the top speed of this thing was 22. So that's getting broken, the tracks are getting stretched, you know, things are a little more ready for speed. 24.1, good. Oh, that's nice to know. Oh, he's way back there. Never mind, I'm all good. Now to dust out the electric company put in our power poles. Wind's blowing favorably in their direction, so sorry guys. Gonna get a taste of the quad track dust.
Back at the saddle again, we're harvesting again toward dusts right now. I do have a friend with me, someone that I grew up with. We grew up together, really close friends. I'll say that, he might say something different. But anyway, this is Lauren Domer. Say hi, Lauren.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, great. Anyway, yeah, we were classmates. He spent a lot of time out at the farm, and he come up from Denver, was employed at Lockheed Martin, but has retired. And I'm going, that kind of sounds nice, retired. But anyway, so we're shooting the breeze here. And in this country, it can get pretty breezy. So, yeah, we're sharing some of the stories that we've been through, and then also just catching up on the latest. And he used to run combine. In fact, what kind of a combine did you used to run?
I used to run the green one that's over in the junk pile over there, that old 7700 that somebody took the engine out of it. That was my baby.
Yeah, it was kind of heartbroken, weren't you?
Yeah, they switched from the green line to this really nice red line.
Yeah, he's playing it right. Yeah, he's great. He's playing right to script. That's the script that we're supposed to play here.
We didn't even have air conditioning. We had swamp coolers.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, we didn't even have that in the beginning.
Yeah, that was something else. The first combine I had that was a factory cab was a first 7700s when they came out in 1971, and Dad and Howard decided, oh, you don't need air conditioning, so they ordered it without air conditioning, and all it had was a side window that you could kind of, a door that you kind of open up, and man, I'll tell you, the engine sat right next to you over on your right side, and all that heat would blow right across the cab.
Right on you. It was so hot.
Oh, it was horrendous. So I cooked that first year. I had a thermometer in the cab, and it went over to 125 degrees. And it did have blowers that blew air on you. But anyway, after that, the next year they got what they call swamp coolers. And I think some of you probably know what those are. Is they're a unit you can put up on the roof of the cab, cut a hole in it, has fans, and then it has this drum which has water that circulates around this foam, and the air going through the foam would vaporize and it would take the heat out of the air, and then you would have this cool air, and it did work.
They work great. You know what? They would. I remember the end of the day, you'd go home and you had so much dust and crud in your eyes. You know, you about couldn't wash your eyes out. Well, when we went to the swamp coolers, they would clean the air, because all that crud, all this dust and chaff would get stuck in that foam roller. And so the thing you had to do is every morning you had to climb up on the roof with a bucket, and you had to get in there with your hands and scoop all the muck out of the bottom of your swamp cooler. Otherwise, if you didn't clean it like every other day, you'd be circulating mud through your swamp cooler, and then it wouldn't work good. So I was more than happy to, I think it was my job to every day muck out the swamp coolers for Bob and Ken, and put water in them, carry water buckets, but that was a big improvement.
Yeah, he wasn't the water boy, he was a swamp boy.
Very full combine, very full combine. 12 o'clock, coming in hot. AB line ready, let's do this. Don't spill any, Dad. And lock on. Yes, okay. GPS is on. There we go. Okay, he's gonna make it. He's gonna make it. There is a very large mound on that thing. He's got a mountain up there. Oh yeah, perfectly executed, flawless. That's how it's done. Probably one of the coolest things is the 3D map on here of the field. And that tractor on that map right there is doing everything that I'm doing. So if I turn all crazy like this, see I'm turning? Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Oh man, guidance systems are amazing. So those two combines put just over 40,000 pounds on me. The one was 100% full, and the other one was about 85%. So I can get about 4 full dumps on this thing, almost 5, 4.5. If you had the 2,500 bushel version of this cart, you get a lot more. Oh, it's sprinkling out here. Must be getting clipped by a little one of those systems. I checked the radar, and they, looks like the rain was going to be just south of us, but we're getting a little bit right now. I want to look at this scoreboard out here. Oh, cool. 40,965, 75. I had to use some tape. The original scoreboard was supposed to have 4 magnets on it, and we only had 2 in the kit. So I put a little extra insurance on there so that thing doesn't pop off while I'm bouncing through the field. My automatic greaser here, I haven't really been paying attention to this thing, but it's used over half the grease. And what's pretty sweet is there's an adapter you plug into here, put a tube of grease in it, push it, and it shoves the whole tube of grease inside this thing and fills it back up again. It's pretty slick. There's a timer on here. What was that? 1 hour, 19 seconds, something like that. Or it could be 10 minutes, 19 seconds, I'm not sure. But counting down until when I think it'll hit some grease to those tracks. So automated greasing is pretty cool, except for when maybe it doesn't work. But as far as I know, that thing's pretty solid. It's just so pretty. I just can't stop touching it. Okay, tell me you're not surprised. I know you're not surprised. It was just a matter of time. It's just the most logical place for that to be. I may be going 24 miles an hour with this thing. Don't tell Everforth, Brent. Don't tell them. They don't need to know that. What? I said 4 miles an hour faster. I can go 24.1. I really don't think they're gonna care. Okay, fine, I'll take it back. Also a pretty cool feature that they're putting on these carts these days, option. 200 gallon tank plumbed into the hydraulics with not sure how long, but probably a good 50-foot hose with a firefighting wand on it. That's a good gig to have out here. So yeah, running around with a little bit of water in the tank. The only issue I have is if you're the only operator and you're trying to fight a fire on the go, it'd be nice if there was a stationary nozzle pointed out that you could just direct a stream of water on the ground, and that way if you're running a fire line, you could kind of just keep spraying on it. But if you got a combine that's smoldering somewhere, can at least pull up alongside, run through the hose, and hopefully get it cooled out. Looks like 2 turbos. I'm not sure.
This is right here though.
Some kind of heat exchanger, because it's got coolant lines running into it, and it goes from one turbo to the other. So maybe there's a whole grid in there that's using coolant to try to cool down the boost before it hits the next turbo. Just a thought. I could be wrong. But it looks like a supercharger, kind of. There's no belts going to it, so it's obviously not a supercharger. And this hydraulic cooler is gigantic. Look at that thing. It's that wide. That's amazing. And the engine fan on this thing is not belt driven. Hydraulic, so I think there could be a way you can reverse the fan. I don't know if that's possible on these, but I would think it would be if it's hydraulic. All right, we're done over here.